Hey guys, we are back again finishing up the Power-Con exclusives for Motu Classics this year. We have got the long-awaited 3-pack that has our unproduced vintage figures that were mashups and extreme parts reuse for the vintage line. So these guys never made it out, but we do know that they were coming, it just didn't happen. So we've got here TERROAR PLASMAR and Lord Grasp. You can see they are in the standard kind of 3-pack box, just like the mini comic set, just like Star Sisters. I know I said that last time, but that's the example I can think of. Fighting Foemen. They have the Power-Con logo and the Super7 logo down there. And then, of course, just like the mini comic set, we have got some amazing artwork on the back that shows all 3 of them duking it out with some bios down here. And we've also got another, where is he? Where is he? He's back here somewhere, lurking around. There he is right there. We've got the kind of mythical white ninja character from the vintage artwork that never was produced either. I think his name is Slamurai now, which makes no sense because he's a ninja, but this is Motu, so it doesn't matter. So maybe, just like with Triclops being on the other pack, maybe they're coming, or that's an idea that Super7 is going to run with down the road. I hope so. I'm fine with it. But for now, we're going to pull these guys out and take a look. All right, guys, so here is our 3-pack out of the box, and for the most part, I am happy with this set. I do like these kind of weird, goofy looking characters, and I'm glad that we finally got these since they never made it out in the vintage line. So like I mentioned, they are just parts reuse figures to an extreme level. So we've got, you know, a lot of Snake Men style parts. We've got more Snake Men style parts, more Snake Men style parts. There's a lot of Snake Men going on in this set, more than kind of meets the eye at first. But they all come across as very unique characters, and I'm really happy with them. Now, they do have the same overall issues that the mini comic set has that I talked about previously. So brittle plastic, stiff joints, and then issues with popping heads off, which comes into be a real problem with TERROAR here. So we are going to take a look at all of them individually, and we are going to start with Lord Grasp. All right, so Lord Grasp himself out of the box, ready to take a look at him. And for the most part, I like this figure. He is probably the most basic of the 3 in terms of what he offers, because for the most part, he is a standard Motu Classics buck with a few changes, obviously. So we're going to talk about articulation on this guy, and it's basically the same that you would expect for any Motu Classics figure with maybe one little alteration. So we have got head that can swivel. He can look up, but he can't really look down. There's just no movement there. The arms can go out. They can swivel all around. So that's pretty normal. Bicep swivel. Single joint at the elbow. He's obviously got a clawful claw, so he has an extra bit of articulation there. We have got a crunch, but mine is really tight, just like with the mini comics figures. So it moves back, but it doesn't really move forward. I'm not going to force it either. Waist twist. Splits. I mean, that's like more than splits, really. He can kick forward. He can kick backwards. We've got thigh cut. Tight single jointed knee. We've got a boot cut. And then we've got a hinge and rocking ankles on this guy. So pretty standard stuff, but of course he does have that rocking ankle action that we don't see too often in this line. Now, as far as the figure itself goes, he is, like I said, the majority of him is a standard Motu Classics buck, but he does have a few things. He's got a Snake Man shield, obviously. That's his only accessory that is specifically for him. He has a clawful claw, which is painted up really uniquely with the black and the yellow on there. I think the design is really nice. It looks very different, very just striking, very different. And then he has got a squeeze head, which is painted up to almost not resemble Squeeze, really. I mean, it's very, very different. The black and the yellow. The teeth are kind of sloppy. If I had to say one pain point on this guy, I'd say that his teeth probably look a little rushed to me, but I can live with that. And then he has Scareglow's cape, which is nice. It also does not hit the floor like it does on Scareglow himself. And then the only real problem I have with this is that this particular strand of rubbery plastic that goes around the neck, I feel like it is very, very flimsy, and over time I worry that it might tear or it might get brittle. So that's just a possibility. It's not an issue right now, so it's just something to keep in mind. But I do like this figure quite a bit. He is, of course, a basic Motu Classics figure, but there's just so much weird stuff going on. He's got that gator crocodile style head. He's got a claw, and then he's got this, you know, yellow and black bee-like color scheme that is, it's all very weird. None of this really looks like it should go together, but it works pretty well. And I'm overall pretty happy with this guy. All right, next up, we're going to take a look at Plasmar. This guy is the good guy of the trio, so we've got two bad guys and a good guy, but he is a relatively dark character, and I'm not talking about his skin tone either. His characterization is really interesting. He seems a lot more brutal than most Motu characters, and we'll talk about that here in a second. I'm going to talk about his accessories first, just because they are kind of cool and obviously unique in terms of casted color, but they also are a little frustrating to me. So he's got a set of Rio Blast style cannons that stick into Rio Blast forearms, which you can see here. He has a Rio Blast style open palmed right hand. The left hand is not an open, it is a closed gripping hand, so he can hold this crossbow. The issue there is that it becomes kind of difficult to get this other blaster in here. It'll go in there, but it kind of bows outward, and I have a problem with them just falling out in both hands. So it sticks correctly in this one a lot better than in this one, but that's fine at the end of the day because I'm going to use the crossbow anyway. So again, he does have a Horde crossbow, and the whole gist of this guy's power is that he has the ability to recreate, if I can, apparently I've never played with toys before, he can recreate any weapon he comes across in plasma, which is powered by this shard of the gem of whatever powers Sir Laserlot, because this is the same chest as Sir Laserlot, it's the same gem. So he can make weapons. So he makes Rio Blast guns, and he makes a Horde crossbow. That's where he gets his weapons from. So I do like this, and you know, if you've got the Spirit of Hordak figure, you could, you know, use this for that figure. It would fit that the look of that quite well. As far as articulation on Plasmar, he is standard stuff. He doesn't have any real rocking action on the ankles. They wouldn't work anyway because of how they're made. Just they would hit the sculpt immediately. So that's a bummer, but I can understand why it's like that. As far as the look of the character goes, he is pretty interesting. I do like the metallic green color that we've got going. Everything on him is really pearlescent, and it shines well in the light. I like the fact that we got a different skin tone for this guy. It just makes him stand out a bit. And then as far as his parts reuse goes, he's all over the place. So we've got Rio Blast forearms and right hand. We have got Sir Laserlot's armor and cape. We've obviously got Fisto's head. And then the entire lower body is Squeeze's legs. So we saw Squeeze's head on Lord Grass. We see his legs on Plasmar here, and it took me a minute to realize that. For some reason I was drawing a real blank when it came to figuring out these legs. And the legs are an interesting thing because, you know, he's got Snake Man legs, and they're painted up kind of interestingly with the banded yellows and reds and blacks, and I think the paint job on him is pretty decent. But the whole point of the Snake Man's legs is that he's a Snake Man hunter, and he wears their hides to, you know, basically show what kind of a badass he is, that he's out there killing snake men and then wearing their hides underneath his armor. I mean, like I said, he is a pretty brutal character in terms of the characterization they gave him. That's pretty dark stuff, but I like it. Last up here we have Terror. So he is another Snake Man style character that reuses a ton of parts. So this guy's got a lot going on, and I think he looks pretty cool. I'd like the purple. I really dig that. It's different. It stands out. It's vibrant. And it just, you know, kind of plays a different look into things when he stands next to some characters we've had for a long time. So I'm all for some variation in the line and on my shelves. He has the same articulation that you would expect, so there's nothing new there. He does have the same kind of issues that Plasmar has in terms of any kind of rotation or rocker. There just really isn't any, and that's just due to the style of boot and foot that he has, so it's not unexpected, so it's not a big deal. As far as the parts he's got, he's kind of all over the place again. So we've got kind of standard legs, we've got Mosquitoer boots, he has Rattler's tail and overall buck and left arm. he has Whiplash's head, and then he has Trapjaw's shoulder piece here and Trapjaw's arm, obviously. So one thing to note is that the peg system on the Trapjaw style arm attachments is different from previous releases. I touched on this in the Mini Comics 3-pack. Not in a bad way, really, just in a compatibility way. So you can pop them out, and the pegs on them are a little bit longer than the original pieces. So you're not going to have a very good time putting them on the original Trapjaw or on, say, Robato's arm. But you could, if you wanted to, swap his pieces out for Mini Comics Trapjaw, but I don't know why you would. The paint scheme is very different on the two. His is just a dull gray, and this is a lot more interesting. I think I like the black and silver color scheme here. And I think overall this character looks pretty interesting. I think he works really well as a Snake Man. The Whiplash head, I never had any idea that it wouldn't work, but it's cool to see this particular setup. He's kind of a, you know, a mecha Snake Man kind of thing, and I think it's pretty cool. I love the Ratlore body, so I'm a big fan there, and I like the tail. The tail is articulated just like on Ratlore, so you still got that extra point, help kind of displace some weight when you're posing him, and help with some additional support as well. So very cool design, good implementation, I think. He does come with a lot of stuff, and he comes with the most just because of the fact that he has the Trapjaw arm. So we'll start with those. He's got the cannon in place already, and then we've got the claw, and we've got the hook. So pretty standard stuff there. You know what to expect if you've got any of these. I prefer the cannon myself. He does come with a Snake Man staff, so he is, you know, pretty well loaded in terms of an arsenal. I would note, just like with, you know, all the other figures, he is using some relatively brittle plastic, and getting this hand open is very, very difficult. Do not attempt to put this in his hand without heating it up first. You might be in for a bad time if you do that. And then the last piece he comes with, just like Ratlore, he comes with a neck extension piece, and it's got some red paint on it to make it look a little bit different, stands out from the rest of the figure. And again, you will need to heat this head up. Don't try to pop that off and put this on without applying some heat with a hairdryer or some hot water. You don't want to break your figure. That's just one of the QC issues we've seen across the board with these figures. So at the end of the day, of the two Power-Con exclusive packs, this is my favorite, and there was really no doubt in my mind that it would be, unless my figures came horribly disfigured. They are brand new iterations of characters we've never gotten in any capacity before. You know, they never made it into the vintage line, and I really, really like the figures. I think they look really cool. They're very wild and unique, and the color schemes and just the overall styling of them really stands out. Of course, they do have their issues, and we can't discount those. They have brittle plastic. They have stiff joints all over the place, and ultimately, you know, that is a huge miss on Super 7 and the factory's part. But like I said in the Mini Comics review, I hope and have faith that they are going to take these issues and fix things going forward. These are unfortunately just, you know, the product of some mistakes. And while they do exist, they do not stop me from enjoying this 3-pack. So that is going to do it for this look at the Power-Con exclusive TERROAR, Plasmar, and Lord Grasp 3-pack from Super 7. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until next time, guys.